Hi, my name is Arun John, a Dell Data Protection Systems Engineer. Today in this demo, we'll go through backup immutability using Data Domain Governance Edition in Avamar 19.10. So let's get started. Here, the Data Domain Immutability feature is called as Retention Lock, and a Retention Lock comes in two flavors, a Compliance Edition and the Governance Edition. At a very high level, the Compliance Edition is a lock wherein you cannot revert it until the backup expiration time is complete. Whereas a backup which is locked using the Governance Edition, the lock can be reverted should you wish to. Now, Avamar 19.10 supports both Compliance Edition and Governance Edition of the retention lock, but it has to be noted you can set up Avamar to be either on Compliance or Governance Edition and not on both. So this is very important. You cannot have both the flavors in Avamar. You can have either Compliance or the Governance Edition of retention lock. Now you can configure immutability for on-demand backups or at the backup policy level. Now there's a certain level of granularity which you can achieve using retention lock through a feature called period lock. Now period lock was a feature introduced in Avamar version 19.9. The three levels of granularity are the first one is default, wherein all the backups sent by Avamar to the data domain system will be automatically locked up until its retention period. Of course, if it is a Governance Edition retention lock, you can always revert the lock. The second level is the set lock time, wherein you can specify a lock lower than its original retention period or equal to its retention period. As an example, if you have a backup with retention period of 4 weeks, but if you want to lock that backup only for 2 weeks, you can do so using the set lock time. Please note this period of locking time could be shorter than or equal to the backup expiration time. And the last granularity is no lock, wherein you can tell Avamar not to lock back any backups which lands on the data domain system. So step one, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and enable immutability on the Avamar side of the business. So I've logged on to the Avamar system and punched in the command AV maintenance config governance mode equals true, and then I'll hit enter. So the governance mode now is turned into true, so that we have enabled this. So next what we'll do is in step 2 we'll go ahead and enable governance mode on the data domain side of the business. So here I am on the data domain system. Before I enable a retention lock on the data domain, I'm going to list out all the entries which are available on this particular data domain. So using the command entry list, that's going to give me a list of all the entries. We're going to enable retention lock only on the entry named Avamar, so that is the entry of interest. We'll go ahead and enable that. So the way we enable the Avamar entry to be on the governance mode is by using the command entry retention lock enable mode governance entry and the path of that entry. We just hit enter. And as you can see, a retention lock feature is now enabled for that entry of interest. So in the next step, what we'll do is we'll enable that granularity for retention lock, which I spoke about earlier, through the feature called period locking. So the way we do that is we go back to the Avamar login using your admin credentials and punch in the command AV maintenance config period immutable backups equal true Avamar only. Period immutable backups now is configured to be true. Please note all the commands which I just used to enable immutability on the Avamar and the data domain side is all listed in the Avamar 19.10 administration guide, the link to which is here. All details are starting from page 182. So what we'll do next is we'll go to the Avamar UI, create some data sets, create some backups to the data domain system and see whether the retention lock works. So here I am in the Avamar user interface AUI, so I'll go ahead and create a backup policy. So we'll name it test retention lock. We'll choose the member, we'll choose SQL 01 as a client which we want to back up. Create a new data set, choose the VMware image and plugin along with the Windows file system. I'll leave all the other options as default and click on next. Create a new schedule, choose the retention period. So what I'll do is I'll retain this backup for 1 week. So what we have done here is we've created a new backup policy called as a test retention log. We added the member, which is the SQL client. We added the retention policies and the data sets. We're going to start the backup. By default, all the backups should be locked, and because it's locked, we should not be able to delete that backup. What we'll do is go ahead and run that backup. So the backup has started to run, and we'll wait until it completes. The backup is now completed. What we'll do now is we'll go ahead and see whether we can delete this backup. We'll click on Asset Management. We'll pick the client, which is our SQL client. Go View More. So that's the backup which we just completed. So as everything works well, we should not be able to delete this backup because it's automatically locked for the retention period, which is 1 week. Just click on Delete. It's asking you for a confirmation. We just say yes. There you go. There's an error which is popped up saying that we cannot delete it. And so this proves that the retention lock works. So backups cannot be deleted. So what we'll do next is we'll go and add some granularity like we discussed in the beginning of this presentation or the demo. Like we go ahead and add a flag stating that we want to send some backups from Avamar to the data domain with a flag called no immutability. Therefore, any backups which is sent from Avamar to data domain should not be locked. So we'll go ahead and try that. So we'll come back to the backup policy and we'll say edit. So same backup policy, next, choose our favorite client, which is the SQL client, say next, choose the data set, same data set, we'll click on turn on the toggle to edit data set, say yes, we scroll down, and here you see a button called show free form. This is where you actually go ahead and put in the flag to state what action Avamar needs to perform. Should it lock? Should it not lock? Should it lock for a certain period of time, etc. So in this example, I'll make the screen a little bigger. In this example, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add a flag so as to say to Avamar not to lock any backups. So we'll add the flag avtar force no immulock, and the value is true. Or we click next. The dataset is submitted successfully. Click next. Click finish. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and run that backup again. The backup has kicked off. We'll wait until it completes. We'll come back and check whether we can delete the backup. So if everything works fine, we should be able to delete the backup because we added the flag called no immutability lock. Therefore, we should be able to delete that backup. So that backup is now completed. We'll go ahead and see whether we can delete that backup. Right, so we go back to Asset Management, our clients. I'll pick up SQL, click on View More. So there are two backups. This was the previous backup, which was locked. This is the latest backup, which is unlocked. Therefore, we should be able to delete it. So we should go ahead and click on that backup, and we say delete. There we go, backup is deleted successfully. So what we did here is we added the flag so that Avamar will not lock the backup, and therefore we could successfully delete those backups. So in the next step, what we'll do is we will try and see how to unlock this backup, which was locked previously, so that we can go ahead and delete it. All the ways of unlocking the backup and then deleting the backups is all listed here in this del KB. For this demo, I'll be showing you only how to unlock and delete the entire backups of a client. There are ways to delete only part of the backup. This is beyond the scope of this demo, but it's all detailed in the link I shared previously. So we log back into the Avamar and we find the path to the client using the command highlighted here. We say enter. The command outputs the location of the file. We need to make a note of the location. So what we'll do next is we will log back into the data domain system and revert the lock for the file using the path which we found previously, which is listed in here. Now we hit enter. It's going to ask a confirmation whether you want to unlock it. We say yes, give the system password, and the lock is reverted. And in the last step, we log back into the Avamar and revert the governance mode to false. So we punch in the command avmt config governance mode is equal to false and hit enter. So in the next step, what we will do is we'll log back into the Avamar console and try and delete the backup now that we have unlocked it. So here we are back into the Avamar AUI, and we'll go back to asset management and pick our favorite client. There should be only one backup remaining, which is this one. Remember, this was locked previously, hence we couldn't delete it. Now that we have unlocked the backup, we should be able to delete it. So we'll go ahead and try that, and we'll click on the delete button. It's asking you for the confirmation. We'll say yes. And there you go, the backup is successfully deleted. So in order to ensure that future backups are locked, we need to go back to the Avamar system and enable governance mode. So in this short demo, we showcased the Avamar governance mode capability, how to lock the data, how to unlock the data and delete it, and how to set flags to get some granularity on retention lock. This concludes the demo.